Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Precious and I'm back with another video. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, join the fam. My name is Precious. I do videos about medical school, lifestyle and faith, so I release some vlogs sometimes. And also, if you are a returning subscriber, I just want to say thank you so much for coming this far with me, and yeah, thank you for being a returning subscriber. And today, in today's video, I'm just going to talk about my HSK4 experience. And for those of you who do not know HSK4 and are just watching this for the sake of watching, HSK4 is like the Chinese proficiency exam. And it's required for you to graduate in most universities in China. For you to graduate as a student, a medical student, particularly for my university, it's compulsory that you must have an HSK4 certificate, which is Chinese language. It's like a proficiency exam. So we take it in 4 levels. There's HSK1, HSK2, HSK3, and HSK4. Other people, I think, took it in the same Chinese language, but they just used different textbooks, but our textbooks, that's the way they were. And today I'm just going to share with you my experience because I wrote HSK4 from home. And yeah, I'm just going to share, by the end of this video, I will share what I got in HSK. So stick up to the end. And yeah, so my experience with Chinese is that I was one person who, like, I found it very hard, like, keeping up my Chinese studies together. My Chinese studies together with my medical studies. Like, I really struggled, and it resulted in me really disliking Chinese. I disliked my classes. I disliked anything to do with it, even though I studied it every other day because I had no option. So I would practice my characters more often, but still I performed very, very poorly in Chinese. I think if it's the last, like, school exam I wrote for Chinese, I didn't even, like, pass it. I had to rewrite it, and even when I wrote it, I still did not clear it because I struggled so much with Chinese. And that's the reason I really debated if I should make this video, because I feel like you should be sharing if you're, like, excellent, but I'm coming from a point where I was not very good in Chinese, and I'm just going to share my story maybe to help someone out there who come across it. So as I've explained, and because of that, I struggled even with speaking Chinese. Like, I would always speak in sentences no matter how much I progressed. I went from HSK1 to HSK2, HSK to HSK3, but my level of my spoken Chinese was super sad. But I knew that I had to write HSK4 at some point. But one thing I didn't know is that I was going to write it from home. For those of you who do not know, I was studying in China, then I came home due to COVID. And it happened that my time came writing HSK4 when the point in China wrote it and I was home. And I was very hesitant at first because I was like, I'm already doing badly in this course. But, with the more when I started going to the hospital, like, I wanted to clear Chinese out of the way so that I had to stop practicing my character. So I decided to go and attempt. And I wrote HSK4 in March this year. So number one was to look for where I could write HSK4 here. And I discovered that you could write it at Unza, University of Zambia. They've got a Confucius Institute there. I don't know if I've said this correctly, but they have a Confucius Institute at University of Zambia. So that's how I was able to find, using Facebook, found numbers and called them and discovered I could sign up for HSK4, and that's how I signed up for HSK4 to write at Unza, and I signed up for March. And since I knew that I struggled so much with Chinese, I decided to ask for a tutor and ask if they offered any tuitions, because I was doing online classes at that time, and online, I already didn't like Chinese classes when I was back in China, and then now they are online. It just got worse. And for us, they did not finish the syllabus. Like, we learned HSK4, we learned HSK1 the whole book, 2 the whole book, 3 the whole book, but 4 we did not complete the book. I think we only did the first few chapters, and they expected us to, like, go through the rest of the book ourselves. And then I had, like, zero motivation of it. So I decided to ask them if they offered tuitions, and thank God, yes, there was someone who, they have classes for the Zambian students, so someone who offers, like, accepted to, like, offer some tuitions. And I discovered soon that I wasn't the only one who, like, had tuitions. So I started going for classes. I've forgotten how many times a week, because this is, like, we're in September and I can't remember how many classes I used to go for during the week, but I used to go for classes. And it was the tuitions, I believe, were the reason I was able to clear Chinese, like HSK4, because I don't know how I would have survived without those tuitions. So another thing about, if you want to write Chinese, or you are considering HSK4 from home, or you've written it from home, HSK4 in China, if you write it in China, it's computer based, but if you write it at home, it's paper based. So that was one of the things when I was a bit scared. But then when I came to analyze, I realized that most of your paper, like majority of the paper, except the last section, that's where you need to write characters. The first part, and if you're using a computer, you just have to know the pinyin. You don't really have to know how to write the character and the character pop up. But now with paper, you have to at least have an idea of the basic characters, your basic characters to construct sentences. So that's one thing that I discovered, and I just like, look, the first part of the paper, you don't really need to know how to write your characters. You need to know how to identify and read your characters, but how to write them, it's not as important. So that's what like encouraged me to go and sign up for this exam, and I signed up for this exam. So now I'm just going to share with you guys the tips and the things that helped me pass HSK4. So of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, like the first thing that like really helped me was tuitions. So I went for the tuitions. I discovered which sections, like tips and tricks, which sections I should start with, which ones I was better at. I was able to discover my stronger point. And the first section, which I would normally advise if you're writing HSK4 with, for me, which was I would start with, because I always discovered for the school exams, I would never finish the paper. Like I would spend the last 10 minutes of the exam rushing, writing whatever I could. So for me, the first, after you've done the listening, once they now give you the actual paper, written paper-based paper, the first section that I would answer is the ABCD, where there's the whole paragraph, and yeah, it's got like the ABCD. I discovered that, or I was able to discover that the ABCD, like you'd find the answers quicker than in other sections from the ABCD part. Then after that, now you go and tackle your other parts. From there, I think that's when I would now go and rearrange the sentences, where you have to arrange the A, B, C, and then like now put them in their proper order. Then from there, now that's when I would go into the last part, which was now rearranging the sentences, the one where they give you the characters, like, and you have to make a sentence. Then from there, now that's when I would go and make the sentences with the pictures. So that's what worked for me. And the second thing that worked for me was using past papers. Now, this was a lifesaver. Like, I made sure I had so many past papers, and I went through past papers. I made it a point, especially the last month before the exam, I made it a point at least every day to do a past paper. Like, it was hard. Sometimes I wouldn't manage, but I would. And another thing that I developed it way back. Another thing that I did was practicing characters. Now, I got a list from the internet of all the characters that I found in HSK4. I think there are 1,200, I'm not so sure. So I got a list of all those characters, and then I would practice. Now, normally back when I was doing HSK1 and we had like few characters, I would like write each one and practice it 5 times. But then as I approached the exam, I discovered I didn't have time for that. So what I would do before I went to sleep was at least just to read through each of the character, read the meaning, look at how it looks, at least try to guess the pinyin, so that I'll be able to recognize the characters in the exam. At least 1 or 2 things would pop up. And another thing that I also did is I stopped using the textbooks for school. So our school, now this might not work for you, it worked for me, but our school textbooks, I found them a bit more, like I wanted something that would help me prepare for the exam as quick as I could. So I found that the textbooks, I had to read so many paragraphs and all that. So what I did instead, I used an app. There are so many apps you can find about HSK4, so I used apps, and I will maybe put one example here. But just even in your app store, if you just go HSK4 and they've got past paper, so I would practice those tests. I'll do those tests regularly just to make sure I'm okay with the time. And also my tutor would also give me a lot of exams just to like test me on my time. And to be honest, it wasn't the easiest journey, but it all paid off in the end. And I just want to encourage you that if you're writing HSK4, just study and go through past papers. That's one thing that really helped me. Use a lot of past papers, and you might not be able to find a tutor where you are, or maybe I don't know, your professor who's giving your Chinese lessons at your school might be willing to give you some extra help. I don't know if that's possible, but yeah, just concentrate on the exam, like study as much as you can, and you will do it, whether you feel like you are not that good in Chinese like I am not good in Chinese, but you can still do it. Just put in the effort and put in the hard work, and you'll be able to clear Chinese. But that's all I had for you guys in this video. Those were basically some of the things that helped me when I was writing HSK4. Although I said I would say what I got at the end. Like when my results came out, like for me, I was just like, this is just God, because the pass mark for HSK is HSK4 is 180 out of 300, and I got 181. I remember like I screamed because I got like +1 of the pass mark. I was just like, this is just God. Like all the hard work, I can't explain how much I was super nervous about this exam. Even after I finished writing the exam, I was just like, I don't think I've cleared this exam, because it was super tough. I didn't even finish. The time went by super fast in the exam room, but I was very grateful for my marks. I was just like, as long as I've cleared as long as I've cleared, I'm grateful. So I just want to encourage you that you can do it too, and pray about it and ask God to help you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.